questions wise, we have had a couple of questions that have been asked. So if we move on to the Ask the Expert section, the first question is, if someone's leaving school and wants to do an apprenticeship, what kind of things should they put on their application?
We get this question quite a lot, to be fair, Francesca. I think it's always really difficult because if you've come straight from school and decide apprenticeship is the option for you, sometimes it could be difficult to understand what you need to pull out. So first thing I'd say, any work experience, any Saturday, weekend roles, even if it's helping a family member out, something like that, babysitting, all of that good stuff looks great on your CV. Any sort of work experience, whether it was a week, whether it was 2 weeks, whether you've had a Saturday job for the last year, make sure you put that down because it shows a number of things. Number one, that you want to work. Number two, that you can hold a position, no matter how long that's for. That's super important, i.e. you turn up and you do what you're meant to do. Number three, it also shows that you've got a lot of transferable skills. So things like customer service, dealing with money, dealing with members of the general public, which is sometimes the hardest thing to do. All of those things look great on your CV. But don't worry if you haven't got any work experience. Think about, you know, things that you've done. Have you repaired an old motorcycle with your dad? Have you worked with your mum doing some, oh, that was really stereotypical. You may have worked with your mum on your motorcycle as well. If you've done some baking for a bake sale, if you've, you know, looked after little brothers and sisters, supported them perhaps with their homeschooling at the moment, who knows? All of that, again, it's got good skills in. Make sure you put things like that in. Also think about your favourite subjects at school or college. You know, what would your teachers say about you? Ask them. You know, I don't think there's a teacher or a college lecturer that wouldn't help and support you in your application. And very often they'll be more than happy to, you know, give you some help, some support, some guidance. There's also loads of projects like the Youth Hub, things like that, that will absolutely have some really good resources. And if all else fails, go to Google, because do you know what? They've got some really good resources for people that have just left school, just giving you a little bit of help and guidance. There's YouTube videos, there's all different things out there that are help and support you. But most of all, think about what skills you have and why you have them. Do you play in a team? That shows teamwork, that shows dedication, especially if you're going out playing football on a Sunday morning in the pouring down with rain. Yeah. That shows a lot. So all those things that you might just dismiss, please put them on your CV, because they will show an employer all of those excellent skills that you've got.
Absolutely, and it also shows that you're a rounded character as well. If you do sort of, you know, compete in whatever sport, it just shows that, yeah, like you say, you've got the dedication, but also that there's more to you than just, you know, your GCSE grades or whatever else. So absolutely. No, that's great. And you know, we mustn't forget National Career Service, who have a range of different resources and things which have been fantastic, and you know, I know that our team utilises it a lot. Thank you for that one. So we have another question from Jane, who is from Shirley, who says that she's looking at changing her career after 10 years, and she wants to know what kind of advice you would give to someone in her position.
Do you know what? Apprenticeships are a really good opportunity to either reskill or upskill, no matter what your age is. We've certainly, I would say, in the last 5 to 7 years, seen a real change in the types of people applying for an apprenticeship. You do have your entry-level roles, which absolutely, you know, are young people can absolutely apply for, but you know what, there are a lot of different roles with someone that's got some skills, some experience might want to look at. An example I've got that happened to me not so long ago, actually about 3 years ago. It was a pharmacist who had been doing pharmacy, gone through university, paid lots of money, was now a qualified pharmacist, working but actually had looked at his life, and I sort of said to him, why, you know, you've done all this training, why are you now looking at an IT apprenticeship? He was like, do you know what, my wife's a teacher and she goes to work every day loving it. I don't feel the same way about pharmacy. So he decided that actually he wanted a total career change, and decided to go for an IT apprenticeship, which he was successful, and he now has a career in IT. But a number of things, it does take guts. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. You know, you're leaving something you're established in to go into something new. But, you know, it's important to be passionate about what you do. We spend a lot of time at work, so you should enjoy it. And if you find yourself in a situation after 10 years, for whatever reason, needing to relook at it, apprenticeship's a really good way of getting started in a new career, no matter what age you are. So I'd say, you know, have a look on the website. The important thing to note is it's not all about the money, because obviously you may be taking a step down in salary, but it is about the experience, the qualifications. And apprenticeships always had quite a bad press around how much they pay, and I would say that is very different now to what it was 10 years ago. Employers recognise the value of apprenticeships, and you know, there is a real acknowledgement that an apprentice can bring a lot. So I would say the average salary is probably around 15k now. So that's very different than it would have been 10 years ago.
Absolutely, yeah, we've moved away from the sort of £100 a week type.
There it is.
So, oh no, that's brilliant. And actually, you've just you've answered one of the questions that I was going to ask you, which is about being paid on an apprenticeship. So that's all great. Thank you. So thank you for that. I hope everybody's found those examples and answers and things useful. So if we just move on to the career tip of the week, or of the month, sorry, not of the week. So I guess for us, we really wanted to focus on the interview and body language, because you know, to get an apprenticeship, you're going to have an interview, and getting the interview is quite often the most difficult part, because you're having to sell yourself on a form where you can't really, you know, you can use words, but that's about it. But actually, we all know that we buy into people, and you know, we feel comfortable talking to people and things. So body language, once you've got that interview, getting into the ring, that's your real opportunity to sell yourself. And so there are some real key things. So, you know, eye contact, really, really important, and just smile. Have a really nice, friendly looking face. Doesn't matter how scared you are, but actually a smile goes a long way. Remembering to shake people's hands when you first meet them. Maybe not during coronavirus. At the moment, we're all having to have that awkward, like, hi, nice to meet you.
That wave.
Yeah. But you know, again, whilst you're having that awkward, I'm not going to shake my hand, but it feels weird because I probably should shake your hand. Having that eye contact and that smile is really, really important. Making gestures and nodding and showing that you're engaged during the interview. You know, nobody wants to be talking to a wall. So, you know, show some of your personality, be open and be positive. And, you know, hopefully you've got an interview for an apprenticeship or for a job that you are genuinely excited about. So, you know, it's okay to be really enthusiastic, because that just oozes out of you anyway. So, you know, key things, lots of nice eye contact, smiles. Even if you've got a mask on, can I just say, you can tell if someone's smiling from behind a mask. And, you know, just be really sort of open and utilise gestures and nodding and be engaged. So I guess that's our top tips. Is there anything that you'd add, Jodi?
No, I think all of those things are absolutely, as you say, you know, they're so important. Just to be, a lot of apprentice employers, certainly, your GCSE grades will be taken into account, but actually they're looking for attitude and motivation. The best thing you can do is to be keen, think of some questions that you want to ask them, do some research on a website. You know, the fact that you've looked at their website and understand what they do will go so far in people buying into you, and that's ultimately what you want them to do. So yeah, 100% do a bit of prep. Don't, you know, I'm a sort of fly by the seat of my pants sort of girl, but in an interview scenario, take that sort of couple of hours before, think about what you want to ask them, because a good question back is really important. And don't forget, our thing that always puts things into perspective for me if I'm feeling nervous, you're interviewing them as much as they are interviewing you, because actually you might go to an interview and think, I don't like the culture, I don't like the vibe, this isn't right for me. And they might offer you the job and you might go, do you know what, I've thought about it, it's not right for me. So you are interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. But be keen, be enthusiastic, and that goes, as you said, a smile goes a long way, with or without a mask.
Yeah, definitely. What is just off the, you know, just off the back of things, what is the best question that you've been asked as an interviewer in an interview?
I always like the questions about, I had one recently actually. I recently interviewed for an apprenticeship and someone asked me, what's your typical day like? Yeah. And I was like, oh, number one, it threw me and it made me as an interviewer think, which I think is a really good thing. And the conversation that come out afterwards, one, we were able to have perhaps a little bit more of an informal conversation around, you know, the typical day in the apprenticeship hub. And I would hope that for that young person, because it was a young person, actually got a real feel for what their day would look like as well. So yeah, that was a really good one for me because it made me think as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think one that I hadn't had before up until quite recently was, what are the key things that I love about my job? And
love that.
You know, and it was wonderful because I was just like, oh, actually, you know, you want to know about almost kind of checking out my values, I guess. And I loved it. I loved the way that the question was put to me, and it allowed me to share just a little bit of who I was, which was brilliant. So yeah, no, I think questions are just so important. They are really important. So I guess that's it for this month. Thank you, Jodi, so much for joining us and sharing your expertise and all of your knowledge. It's been fantastic. Next month we'll be hosting a special National Careers Week JOBCAST, where we'll be covering all aspects of careers. So please don't forget to send us your thoughts and comments on this month's podcast, but also anything that you'd like to include either in future podcasts or for the next podcast. All the contact details that you need are on the Access Southampton page /JOBCAST. So thank you again for listening, and we'll speak to you next month. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.